Hello guys, welcome to BioEd. I am Aman from BioEd and welcome to a new video tutorial on immunology. So in this video tutorial, we'll be studying about the overview of immune system. So we'll be discussing about various different things such as the immunity, the classification of immunity as the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. Hello guys. So now we'll be studying about the classification of immune system. The overview of immune system, and it is divided into two parts. First is the innate immune system and the next is adaptive immune system. So first we'll be talking about the innate immune system. So first let us take a small example of what immunity is. What immunity does. So first of all, think of your body as a city. Think of your body as a city, and there are a lot of cops in your body, like a lot of police. Suppose of a body as a city, and there are a lot of police and army people that are there to protect the city. So what happens whenever anyone tries to break in your city, whenever anyone tries to come into your city and do bad things, so that police person or that army person is there to catch that person and remove it from the city. So it is just similar like that. Suppose this is our body, and in our body there are a lot of cells, immune cells, different types. They can be dendritic cells, macrophages, and n number of cells that we'll be discussing later on in the chapter. So suppose this is our body, and there are a lot of cells that are there protecting our body. These cells are the immune cells. These are the cells of the immune system that prepares our immunity. And suppose, for example, this green color I am showing is a bacteria. Is a bacteria or any pathogen that tries to enter our body. So when it will come and enter our body, it will activate the immune cells and it will activate the immunity of our body. And thus what they will do, these cops or these police, what I gave the example, these things will try to eliminate, will try to remove this from our body, because what these bacteria can do, these things, these bacteria, these pathogens, these antigens, they can cause harm to our body. They can cause diseases, they can cause harm to our body, they can cause organ failures and n number of things. So the immune cells, the immunity of our body, what it does, it tries and it removes all the other pathogens and the other various different things. So first let me tell you about what really is a pathogen. A lot of people are really confused about what is a pathogen. So a pathogen is any agent, anything that can cause a disease in our body. For example, these pathogens can be bacteria, virus, fungi, or worms. So these things which can cause diseases in our body are known as pathogens. And one thing more, the next thing is that the next thing you will be listening a lot in the classes of immunology is antigens. Antigens. So what are antigens? What basically are antigens? So these antigens are toxins or foreign substances. These are the toxins or foreign substances which can induce or which can trigger. That is, when they come in our body, they can start our immune response. They will come, whenever they will enter our body, they have the capability to start the immune response. Suppose this bacteria acts as an antigen. They will come in our body and they will start the immune responses, and the immune cells will start and they will try to eliminate that thing in our body. So a pathogen is a thing which causes disease, and an antigen is a thing which triggers immune response. Okay, is that clear? So the next thing that we'll be studying is innate immune system. What really is innate immune system? So suppose what happens, our body is getting infected, our body got infected by anything like a bacteria, a virus, any pathogen that came in our body, and it will try to infect us. So the first thing what our body will do, it will start the immune response. And the first immune response that our body takes is the innate immune system. It is the earliest response action. The first immune response that comes in our body, that starts in our body, is the innate immune response. So these are the mechanisms done by the cells and biomolecules of our body that come into play when an antigen encounters in our body. So as soon as this antigen will try to come in our body, the earliest immune response that will start will be the innate immune system. This innate immune system will act as soon as the antigen enters our body, and our body will encounter the antigen. Okay, one thing more, this innate immune system, at a lot of times it is also called as the natural or native immune system. Why so? This innate immune system at a lot of times is called a natural or native immune system because it is present in our body by the time we take birth. From the time we have birth, we have this immunity in our body. This is the first line of defense. For example, we take the example of our country, the first line of defense is the army. So for our body, the first line of defense is this innate immune system. So whenever the antigen or pathogen will try to come in our body, the first line of defense that will interact is the innate immune system. So what it is, it consists of many cellular and biochemical events that will come into play, that will act. A lot of different cellular and biochemical events are going on inside the body in the innate immune system that will try to kill this antigen, that will try to remove this pathogen outside the body. That means to remove these pathogens outside the body. Next thing, this innate immune system is always on. It is always active. It is always ready for any pathogen that will come in our body, and it is always active, and it is always well prepared. Like the army, it is always well prepared. Like any foreign invader must not come in our body, and it will act against it. It is always ready. And there are a lot of different parts of this immune system. The 5 different parts of the innate immune system are: first is barriers. See, first of all, whenever you try to enter something that is restricted, the first thing that you come along is barriers. See, like whenever you try to go into a restricted area, there are a lot of barriers that will try to prevent you from going inside. Similarly, our body also has a lot of barriers that will try to protect the pathogens entering in our body. For example, the barriers can be skin. The most important barrier is our skin. The skin protects our body and it does not let the pathogen enter in our body. The skin also has a bit acidic pH, which does not let the bacteria or other pathogens grow on the surface of it. It also has different sweats and oils that are antimicrobial, that prevents these pathogens to reside on the skin or even enter our body. Other barriers can be mucosal surfaces. For example, these mucosal surfaces are present on the inner layer of our nose, on our eyes, because the pathogens can enter from the airstream or on direct contact with our eyes. So these are the liquids and mucus layers that traps these pathogens and does not let it enter in our body. And other barriers can also be gastric juices in our stomach, because the pathogen can enter from the food also. Suppose someone eats a rotten food or any food that is infected with a dangerous pathogen, so it can directly go inside in our body by mouth also, by the means of food also. So to prevent this, our stomach consists of various gastric juices. These gastric juices will kill this bacteria and will kill these pathogens and prevent us from getting infected or harmed by them. The next part of the immune system, innate immune system, will be the scavenger cells. The scavenger cells. As you know what scavenger does. The scavenger feeds on the material and eats it and kills it. Similarly, there are a lot of scavenger cells in our body. These can be neutrophils, macrophages, dendritic cells, natural killer cells, and a lot of different cells that we'll be discussing later on in the video. So first, for example, we'll just keep it simple. We'll just keep it scavenger cells. And they have the phagocytic activity. Phagocytic activity. So what does phagocytic activity mean? So phagocytic activity, I'll explain you in a very easy diagrammatic way. So what it does is, suppose this is the scavenger cell of our body, this is the nucleus, and it encounters a pathogen. Suppose this is the pathogen, green colored pathogen. So what it will do, this will start the phagocytic activity on this. What does phagocytosis mean? Phagocytosis means engulfing. So what it will do, it will form a structure like this and it will engulf it. And next what it will do, it will totally engulf. This is the nucleus and it will totally engulf and it will keep it in a vesicle which will contain a lot of enzymes and it will degrade it. It will degrade it and it will, what next it will do? It will, what next it will do? These scavenger cells, these will present the parts of this antigen on their surface. So this is a other complex topic that will go later deeper in this innate immune system. So for now we'll just keep it that these scavenger cells does have the phagocytic activity and they do phagocytosis against any of the microbes. Next what we'll study is the complement system. The next part of the innate immune system is the complement system. So what really is the complement system? This complement system is a combination of different type of proteins and biomolecules that are present in our blood. So what the real work of this complement system is, it basically does is, suppose this is the pathogen that is entering our body and it has entered into the bloodstream. So this complement system with a different number of biomolecules, proteins, it will come and attack this pathogen and create pores in the surface. It will create pores in the surface of this pathogen and it will kill it. It will again provide immunity to our body by removing those certain pathogens and antigens. The next part is cytokines. Basically, in simple words, we can explain cytokines as the proteins. These are a major set of proteins that influences the adaptive immune system and also a bit extent of innate immune system. That is, these are a kind of regulators that will help us in regulation of the immune system. And the last part of the immune system is inflammation. You must have heard it a lot of times that some people have got inflammation in their body and a lot of different things. So what really does inflammation mean? Inflammation means a lot of rush of blood and different type of immune cells to the place of injury. So what happens is, suppose this is a place of our body and here we have got some injury. So what will happen? In inflammation, what it does, to fight, suppose any infection has occurred over here, to fight this infection, what our body does is it starts the process of inflammation. It rushes a lot of blood in this area. And with blood, a lot of different things such as the scavenger cells, the cytokines, the complement system, all will come over here and accumulate. And it will try to remove the pathogen that enter in our body, and it will try to remove and protect our body from getting harmed. So in a lot of cases you will see that in inflammation what happens, a lot of swelling occurs. Suppose you have got any hurt or any pain, a cut over here, a lot of blood is rushed over there. And with a lot of blood, a different type of cells such as the scavenger cells, the cytokines, and complement system all will come at that place, and it will start to encounter the pathogen or any infection, and it will try to protect our body. It is a defense mechanism of our body. Next thing what will be coming in your mind is, how do they recognize whether a pathogen has entered or any other thing has entered? Because it is a very common question that a lot of times people ask, that how our body recognizes, that how will it get to know that something has entered our body and it will recognize. So what happens is, our body has PRRs. PRRs. You must be thinking, what are PRRs? So PRRs are pattern recognition receptors. That is, these PRRs are the receptors present on the cells of the innate immune system. These are the cells, and on their surface are the receptors, pattern recognition receptors. What they recognize are PAMPs. PAMPs. You must be thinking, oh, a lot of short forms he is telling. But what really are PAMPs, you will get to know. You will just now understand it easily. So PAMPs are pathogen associated molecular patterns. Okay, so what really happens is, suppose this is a pathogen. Okay, so on the surface of this pathogen are a different types of patterns, and these patterns are easily recognizable by the cells of our immune system. Suppose this red cell is our immune system cell. So what it has on its surface, it has receptors. It has pattern recognition receptors. That is, it recognizes the patterns present on the pathogen. That is, these patterns. These PRRs recognizes the patterns present on the PAMPs. That is, the patterns present on the pathogen is being recognized by the cells of the immune system. And when it recognizes, it starts the immunity action. That it starts bringing a lot different type of cells such that to eliminate it. For example, like a police is there and it recognizes there is any thief or any bad person that came into the city. So what it will do, it will recognize, it will find that something wrong is there, it will recognize it, and then it will try to get it out, and it will try to remove or kill or any other thing such that to prevent the city from any harm or any bad thing. This immune system, this innate immune system that we are talking, is also non-specific. Why we are using the word non-specific over here? Non-specific. Why so? It is non-specific because it does not categorize the pathogen into whether it is a bacteria or type A bacteria, type B bacteria, type A virus, type A fungi, anything. It is non-specific. It just recognizes it as a pathogen. It just knows that it is something that will provide harm to our body. It just recognizes it as a bad thing, and it takes the same action for each and every pathogen that tries to enter our body. It is just like it does not know anything. It just knows that it is a bad person, it is a bad pathogen for our body. It will come, it will start the action, and it will just try to remove it from our body. So guys, as now we have discussed about a non-specific immunity known as the innate immunity, now we'll be discussing about a very specific type of immunity known as the adaptive immunity. Why specific? We'll discuss, we'll tell you. So why is it different from the innate immunity? See, the innate immunity is immediately acting. It is immediately acting, whereas the adaptive immunity is stimulated by constant exposure of pathogen. Or antigen. So what happens is, in this adaptive immune system, when this innate immune system is unable to handle that infection or that antigen, and a constant exposure of that antigen is occurred in the body, the adaptive immune system comes into action. This adaptive immune system is really specific. It is really specific, and it has a very good characteristic of differentiation. That is, it has a good characteristic of differentiation. That is, it can easily differentiate whether it is a type A bacteria, type B virus, or fungi. It can totally differentiate that which type of antigen is there, and accordingly it will act. The most important characteristic of this adaptive immunity is it has memory. It has a inbuilt memory against the repetitive exposure of the antigen or pathogen. That is, as much times the body is encountered with the antigen, the adaptive immune system builds a system of memory. Like we guys also have a memory. Like once we meet any person, the next time when we go and meet that person, we have a memory that we have met that person, we have encountered that person, and we have a memory that we talked this and all. So similarly, this adaptive immune system has a memory against the repetitive exposure of the pathogen. it is really specific, and a lot of times it is also known as specific immunity. Due to its specific nature to differentiate whether it is a type A, type B, type C, different type of microbes. And at a lot of times it is also known as acquired immunity. Why so? It is known as acquired immunity because this was not present in our body where by the time we took birth, but when we took birth we had that innate immunity. This was acquired by us by a period of time, by a constant exposure of microbes or antigens, pathogens. By a constant exposure we have developed this immunity in our body, so that's why it is also known as acquired immunity. Okay, so there are different central components of this immunity. Adaptive immunity, central components. The two basic central components of this adaptive immunity are lymphocytes, that is, these are the cells of the lymph cells, and these are categorized into two parts, B cells and T cells. This we'll discuss later on in the video series. We'll go quite deep into these things. And the next is antibodies. So what basically are antibodies? To be understanding it in a really easy fashion, in a really easy manner, antibodies are those proteins. These are basically proteins. Okay, here. Antibodies are proteins. Basically, these are proteins which recognize antigens. That is, these helps are the cells of the immune system to recognize whether our body has been infected by a pathogen, antigen, and thus initiate the process of the immune system. Okay, so guys, now we have covered about the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system. So one thing more, this innate immune system comes into play immediately as soon as it is encountered by an antigen, whereas this adaptive immune system comes into play after constant exposure. That is, it comes into play after 4 to 6 hours minimum. It does not come into play as soon as the body encounters with the pathogen. It comes into play after 4 to 6 hours. Okay, so guys, that was all about the different classification of the immunity. One, we have read about the innate immune system in different parts, and next was the adaptive immune system and its central components. Why is it known as a specific immunity or acquired immunity? Its functional characteristic of a memory, that it recognizes whether it has previously encountered with the same antigen, so that to work efficiently. So guys, that was all about this video, and please do drop a like, and also do write down your feedback in the comment section so that it may become a more interactive and a more good video. And also please do press the subscribe button and also press the bell icon so you don't miss any video. Thank you. Bye bye.